After 300 days of Leet Code, I would like to say that I got smarter or faster, but that's not what changed. In fact, the biggest change isn't even about coding. To explain what exactly changed, I have to show you what I kept getting wrong. Is after is. November 2023, I signed up on Leet Code and I solved this problem. It was the first problem I solved, and the reason I started on Leet Code was pretty interesting. It was because I wanted to prove something. I wanted to prove that I am better than my colleagues, that I am smarter, that I am faster, and well, I wanted to prove that because of all those people you see on YouTube and Facebook who are just sitting there typing on their keyboards and they're just solving problems and they're in the top 100 or top 10 of Leet Code, and you're just like, hey, I wanna be one of those. Well, it's been over 2.5 years and a lot has changed. I thought that by putting time into Leet Code, I would be smarter, I would become faster, problems would stop feeling like problems, and I was like, well, once I'm going to solve this problem, hard problems would start feeling easy. Let me tell you what, even after over 2 years, hard problems still feel like hard. I still get stuck on different problems, and it's not like I haven't improved. I felt that, and if you go back into my history, you look into March 2025, I was almost depressed. I was feeling like I am not making any improvement, and I just gave up on Leet Code. And in April 2025, I came back. I took some breaks here and there, but I continued practicing, and even today, I am continuing to practice every week. I solved over 600 easies, over 400 mediums, and I am currently ranked in the top 20,000 users on LeetCode. But I don't think it's what LeetCode was actually about. I don't think it made me any smarter. It did allow me to recognize patterns using which I can solve a variety of problems, and taking any problem 50% of the time I am going to find a pattern that I have used already and will be able to solve it within 5 to 10 minutes. But it certainly changed the way I used to see those remaining 50%. You see, when you stumble on a problem, let's take a very easy problem for instance, you are going to spend like 15 minutes, you wouldn't be able to find a solution, and you would be tired. You would be like, well, let me go and see the solutions, or maybe ask ChatGPT, and it gave me an urge to remain stuck, which basically means that if I'm trying to solve this problem and I can't find a solution, I'm going to keep trying, and if I still can't find a solution, I'm going to leave that for another day and try to solve that by myself. And it's not like I've gained any confidence. I would still be joining a contest and I will be all panicking like I'm going to blow up and that would be the end of my career. But still, you need to keep trying. If I just go ahead and look at the solution, I'm just going to copy paste it, solve the problem, submit it, and then move on. But if I solve that myself, then looking at the solution is worth it because I would be putting all my effort into actually understanding the purpose of that solution. I would be trying to understand what actually is happening. I would be trying to understand why this is better than my solution. And well, I feel that this is the most important thing I have learned through LeetCode. It's the urge to remain stuck, the urge to keep trying without looking at the solution, and when facing a problem, the urge to solve it by yourself, not keep hitting into a wall. I'm going to go ahead and solve a few easy problems now, just to give you a taste of what actually feels like to be working on Leet Code. So let's go back. I shall be going into what is called the quest, which Leet recently added, where you basically solve a bunch of problems to level up. And once you have reached the final problem, you would be able to claim your reward, which is a few Leet coins. And using those Leet coins, you can buy a pencil pouch or a shirt or I don't know what. But anyway, let's go ahead and solve a few problems just to get a feel of how it feels. Already solved that one, solved that one too. Okay, so here we have a very simple problem. We just need to find the maximum number of consecutive ones. I'm just going to go with let current equals to 0, let max equals to 0. Let's see how fast I can solve it. There we go. Hopefully it took less than 60 seconds. And just looking into that, just feeling that you solved a problem by yourself, especially through harder problems, is the urge that's going to keep you going. Even after 2 years, even when I solve a problem today, I'm still like, yay, I'm never going to be above this. There's just a feeling of happiness that fills you from inside, and it's just a feeling that's been keeping me going for so long. So now I'm going to very quickly go through my profile by telling you the exact approach I took throughout the years. Like I said, I started in 2023. I attempted a few medium problems first, but soon realized that I cannot keep up with it and instead started focusing on easy problems. By 2024, I had gained a bit of warm up. Therefore, I started trying to couple one medium with around 5 easies per week. And I kept going. By the end of the years, I had 10 out of easy problems to solve. All the remaining ones are behind the paywall. So in 2025, I started practicing with around 5 mediums, 5 easies, and 1 hard a week. And I kept this up until the end of 2025. Since the start of 2026, I have started completing only 5 mediums in each Tuesday. And the purpose is that I'm no longer trying to prove anything. After 2 years, I know that I cannot prove anything. I don't need to prove anything. And right now, it's just maintenance. I want to keep the muscles alive, keep practicing, and therefore I'm practicing. I'm solving a few problems every week, and I'm practicing my skills, but I'm no longer trying to prove anything anymore. I have managed to pick up a few skills like dynamic programming that I'm especially proud of. I was scared of dynamic programming, and I am now able to solve medium and hard problems with it, and I couldn't even have imagined that to be possible. Like, if I would look at a dynamic programming problem, I would be completely dumbfounded. I would have no idea what exactly I was doing. I still have no idea, and it still somehow works. And it's going to keep working. At least I hope so. And before I conclude this video, I'm going to answer a question for you. Is it worth it to start practicing Leet Code and put hundreds of hours into solving problems that you're never going to face in real life? If it's your intention to maybe get a job into a tech giant like Microsoft or Google, sure, stick with Leet Code. It's going to help you, but not as much as getting a reference. If you don't have a reference, you can grind as much Leet Code as you want, You can spend countless years practicing on Leet Code, and most probably your CV isn't even going to go through. You're not going to get an offer or even an interview. If you have a reference, you're going to get an interview. You might know what you're doing wrong. You would be able to practice a bit and then get through to a junior internship position. But well, if you want to get into a tech joint, give it a go. Just make sure to build up your network and get a few references first. If you just want to have fun, you can also try Leet Code, but it's not a fun experience. You are going to have bursts of depression throughout. You will be completely like the at the end of your career. You will be having headaches after every problem, and it's not my idea of fun. I would not be trying a problem like this if I just want to have fun. But there's something interesting about code. The patterns that you learn, like dynamic programming, you're never going to use them in real life unless you are working on an LLM or on Google search or on the authentication flow of Google Drive or something like that. You would not be using it in a regular code base, but it's certainly worth doing. If I pick a problem like this, like an autocomplete, and I want to implement that into my code base, and I want to understand why it's having performance problems, and it's exactly what the senior's job is to know. Right now, anyone can write code using AI, but if you know how everything is working and what are the consequences and performance constraints of each thing, you are you have crossed the boundary of just coding and now you're a senior software engineer, and at that point knowing everything is worth it. You can look at an autocomplete, you know how it's working, you know how it's making calls to the server, and you can look into that and figure out any performance problems that someone just sticking with AI couldn't even comprehend. But to me, even the discipline, even the urge to keep trying is worth it. And that's my conclusion to you.